the main reason we struggle at creating our intentionally desired reality is because we oversaturate our lives with inorganic stimulants. And if you oversaturate your life with meaningless inorganic stimulants, you are actually depleting it. You're depleting yourself from meaningful organic stimulants. And this is quite literally the root to any problem you have, as you're going to be realizing now. Because you see, you have a field of electromagnetic energy surrounding your body. And every time an emotion is provoked from within you, every time a thought provokes an emotion in you, or an incident provokes an emotion from you, you draw from that field of electromagnetic energy surrounding you and you share with that thought or with that incident. And this is pure science, by the way. This is 100% science. Your brain releases an electrical signal. A thought is an electrical signal, and that is the direction. And your emotions, your heart releases magnetic energy. An emotion is magnetic energy, and that attracts it to you, and that determines the relationship you establish between you and that direction, that thought. And the more you do that, you're going to be aiding at creating that incident or manifesting that thought as part of your reality. So if you are stuck living in the past, you're living in vengeance, you're living in regret, you're living in self-pity for what has happened, you're stuck in the past, or you're stuck in the future. You're worried, you're afraid of what the future might look like, you're afraid of what might happen or what might never happen. Is this gonna happen? Will this ever happen? I hope that doesn't happen. I hope this happens. And you lack the present moment. And the more you do that, you're wallowing in the past and you're feeling bad about your past. Guess what you're gonna be doing? You are gonna be attracting that past to you, and as such, you're gonna be recreating your past and reliving your past through this present. Or if you're stuck in the future, you're gonna be ruining and messing your future by worrying so much about it, by giving it so much negative energy, by being so desperate for something to go in a specific direction, because your thought, your mind lacks the present moment, lacks the clarity of the present moment, which harbors gratitude, which harbors stillness, and you're able to see clearly through the moment. Because if you are present, even, so neither the past matters nor the future, and you're really present, you are in this moment, you're gonna be able to find more and more things to be grateful for, more and more things to create from a field of good energy, from field of positive experiences. But if you're always stuck in whatever has hurt you in the past, you cannot become better than that. And if you're stuck in the future and worrying about the future, you're gonna eventually become resentful even to life, because it's not matching. The present is not matching the vision you have for the future, and that brings out the resentment in you. But in the present moment, you can see clearly. You're not affected by that. You're detached from your past, you're detached from the future, and you can start using this technique, start using your electromagnetism the right way, by applying it the direction you want. Because in the present moment, you can choose whatever you want. The present moment, there's no sadness, there's no badness, there's no negativity, there's no resentment, there's no fear. Even if just for a second, even if you can feel good for this very moment, for this very second, feel good about yourself. And as such, you're gonna be able to find more and more things you love about yourself. Appreciate yourself for taking some time and tuning into this video, or doing something meaningful in your life, whatever that is, or doing something that enhances your connection and your groundedness and your love, your power, something that empowers you. And you're gonna be able to feel more and more grateful. You're gonna be able to feel grateful for this video finding you, for example, because that means that this, whatever I'm saying, is meant to reach you, and that is something to feel good about yourself for. Whether this or whether you can apply it to whatever, but in the present moment, You can choose whatever you want to think and feel like if you're only present. And if you build on that, you're gonna be on your way to creating your intentionally desired reality. But what matters even more is an action that provokes an emotion, is the electromagnetism that you draw from and you share with something that you have committed to in terms of action, in terms of physical effort, in terms of commitment to something, to a step, to an act that you take, which in turn also provokes an emotion within you. So when it comes time for you to start creating your reality, when it comes time for you to create the positive experiences you actually want, what happens is that your only feedback is what has been going in your external reality, and that's your only input, and that informs your moment as you wallow in the past, or you're worried about the future, and that inform and you recreating those experiences, and you're creating experiences that only proves to you that you should worry, or only proves to you that you should in fact feel bad for yourself, that you should hate your life, because that's the electrical and the magnetic energy signals that you are sending, and you're drawing from that energy, you're depleting yourself from that energy, and you're giving to those things. And as you're doing so, you have no energy left in you to actually create what you truly desire. But when it comes time for you to take an action, and you take an action, perhaps whether it provokes a positive emotion or a negative emotion, what happens is that when you're being informed by a negative external reality, and that's your only concern, that's all that's on your mind, and your energy is depleted, you have no energy to create, whether you have no energy to keep for yourself, to connect with yourself, what happens is that you will have to cope. You will indulge in coping mechanisms, rather than whenever it's time for you to work towards your dream reality, to work towards your goals, or to actually live a path that's leading you to your grand intention. What happens is that you find yourself fluctuating heavily because you need to cope one way or another, because you're being informed by a negative reality, and your mind, you're not in the present, you're wallowing in the past, you're worried about the future, you're always in a negative environment. And guess what? Your brain does not differentiate. Your brain knows only the present, and if you are always living in negative thoughts, and that awakens negative emotion, and you're gonna be creating negative experiences, and with more negative experiences, you're gonna have to cope heavily with those negative experiences. And in the end, what you're gonna be doing is doing things that do not really resonate with you, that do not really serve you, and you're gonna, whether it's something that's gonna make you feel worse, it's gonna make you feel even bad about yourself, even more bad about yourself, or it's something that provokes intense pleasure, like a heavy instant release dopamine activity, coping mechanism. And with both experiences, so regardless of it, whether it's negative or positive, you're gonna be attracting those experiences to you, rather than focusing this electromagnetism on attracting the reality you want, by using the thoughts you want, by thinking the thoughts you want, by maintaining the thoughts you want, and coupling them with attributing them to a specific emotion, to a positive emotion, as in convincing your brain that it is your present moment. And if you do that, the more you do that, the more you're going to be attracting those things to you. Similar to when you were attracting those thoughts, those electrical and magnetic signals through your past, and recreating them in the future, in the present, and in your future, and you're ruining your future as well by worrying about it, by thinking about how bad it could go, and giving it a magnetic energy, using a negative emotion. That's the emotion that combiningly creates a reality that tells your brain that's the reality I'm living through, and it does whatever to attract it to you, and that becomes your reality. But if your life is only about coping, and then you have to cope, and then perhaps you take an action, but you're very unconvinced, you're very distrustful, you don't believe in yourself, because you're only being informed by negative experiences, you're only being informed by the negativity in your brain. as you're even trying to work towards that goal, towards that grand intention, you're gonna be ruining it, and you're gonna find that there's always hiccups, there's always falls. No matter what you're doing, no matter how close you get, something happens and it ruins it for you. And with that, you're gonna lack the energy to actually create whatever reality you truly want, because you're giving all of your drawing from that electromagnetic field and you're sharing with whatever experiences you don't actually want, and other experiences have a hold over you. So you're inadvertently, unintentionally indulging in coping mechanisms, in experiences that you don't like, that don't serve you, and you know that, but they are inadvertently drawing, siphoning your energy, and then you have no energy left to create intentionally. And that's how you deplete yourself. That's how you ruin your present and you ruin your future. That's how you just keep falling from another lesson to another lesson to another lessons, never having a breakthrough. It's just one struggle after another. Yes, it makes you better. Yes, you grow tremendously through those experiences. Yes, you change and you evolve. But there's a point when it becomes enough. There comes a point when you have to say that's enough. It's time for me to stop struggling. It's time for me to stop learning more lessons. I've learned everything, and now it's time for me to claim that reality. Now it's time for me to actually project my inner world onto my external world. And when it comes time for that, what you do is that you ruin it by more coping mechanisms, by more energy being siphoned from your electromagnetic field towards things you don't want, and it creates it, and it creates it, and it creates it. But there's also that grand intention in the back of your mind, which is which you are pulling yourself, which you are one way or another making it the ultimate direction. And so with this complication, with the mix of experiences that you don't want, the mix of focusing on experiences that you don't want, indulging in experiences that you don't want, and the grand intention at the back of your mind, that keeps creating more lessons. Okay, so this is how you break it. This is how you move on. This is get an experience, create a third experience that's neither what you've attracted through your negative thought and emotion, and nor it is your desired reality, but it's something else that tells you, well, you are in this contrast, you're living in this contrast, and here is your choice. Which is it that you're gonna choose? Which is it that's gonna really become your reality? And you have to commit to something through that experiences, and those are what we call lessons. Those are what we call trials and tests, or whatever we want to call it. In reality, it's just something that we created as a way to force us to make a decision. Are we gonna really align and vibrate on this the negative reality that we don't want to attract, that we're afraid of, that we're worrying about, that we're wallowing about in the past, or are we actually going to create our intentionally desired reality? So if you want to create your intentionally desired reality, be very selective with what you give your energy. Anything that evokes an emotional reaction in you takes your energy. That is signs. You combine an electrical signal with magnetic energy, and that is something that you use to attract. That is attraction. That's literally magnetism at its best. And so whatever is within you is mirrored in your external reality. You mirror that to your external reality. You project. That's the manifestations. You project it by attracting it, and you create it, and it happens, and that becomes your life. Be very careful what you think about and what you allow to influence your emotions, because whatever influences your emotions, whatever thought, whatever incident influences your emotion for a prolonged period, that becomes your reality, and you choose that. You choose whatever reality you actually want through that. Be very selective with your electromagnetic energy. Be very selective with what you choose to create cords of energy with, because that determines your reality. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video by AfsConsciousFrequency. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel because it helps me so much, and it helps this video find its way to many more others who might actually need it.